Chuni has just recently released his Update 7 spreadsheet, and today, well, Ethereum and I are gonna kind of analyze it. It's a very good spreadsheet, and we really do appreciate all the work Chuni has done. How do you get to his spreadsheet? You can watch this video here, and right there under the spreadsheet, there it is right there. So you're gonna click on that Google Doc that he has shared. You can also click on the link that he pinned right there on the screen. Now, this is what you get when you get to his Google Docs. It's a lot, it's very overwhelming, and there's a lot of stuff that you can mess with and look at. But you're looking at it, you're like, oh, there's this AoE, that's cool. There's the DPS, there's true DPS, but then there's true T DPS, and then there's total DPS, and it kind of all starts getting confusing. So when we talk about Anime Fighter Simulator and how units should work, per se, in my opinion, the best way to look at a unit is through damage per minute. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You said Anime Fighter Simulator.
No, yeah, Anime Adventures. You know, same difference. They're both anime, okay? But yeah, so when you look at Anime Adventures, and when I think of my good characters, I look at damage per minute. So in the span of a minute, how much damage will my unit do? So what we've done is we've taken this list here. All of this list and stuff can be found on the wiki page right here. So we appreciate Chuni for making this entire list and putting it on here basically, but all the units and all their stats and everything about them is here. Like for example, Noelle evolved and all her her range, her damage, her SPA, her attack type. That's all here on this spreadsheet. But we took that and we moved it on to the next level, which would be the damage per minute, which in our opinion is the best way things work. So we're gonna kind of break it down here real quick and see how to use this sheet. Right here on the left, you have all the mythical units that you can get, and then you also have a few of the, what are they called, exclusive units, event units,
yeah,
leaderboard units. There's a couple units like that on this list as well. So just note that it's not only, mythical units. Looking at it, you have level 1 base stat damage for every unit, and then you have level 100 base stat damage for every unit here. Currently, as of update 7, their SPA is how fast they attack, right? The range is how big their range is, obviously. I think this is max level range. Excuse me. Max level range. Place limit, how many of these units you can place. So all of that stuff right there is very important when it comes to figuring out the total damage per minute. So I'll just let Ethereal explain how to do that damage per minute real quick.
My bad, I spaced out. What?
How do you do the damage per minute?
Oh, the math?
Yeah.
Okay, so to start off with,
let's do ISO betrayal, right? Eisen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you look, we're going by damage per minute, so we want to go by 60 seconds because 60 seconds are in a minute.
Right. Then so we're going to look at the SPA. Yeah.
Yep. So we're going to take 60 and we're going to divide it by 6.5 in this instance.
6.5.
So you do the math, you come up with however much I don't have a calculator on me right now, so I'm not looking.
I'll pull it up real quick. 60 divided by 6.5, I think, is 9 something. 9.2, I believe.
Around there. I'm tired, so my brain's slow.
Yeah, but, it's 9.2.
So you get your 9.2. We're gonna round that down, and we come to 9. So we now know that Eisen is going to be attacking 9 times in 1 minute. So now we need to multiply his base. So if you look at level 100, that's him maxed out in game at level 100. Whoa. So we're gonna multiply that by 9, which gives us, what's the number?
So it's 23,931 times 9, which is gonna give us 215,000. Now we're going to 379.
By 3 because you can place 3 Eisens.
So 215,379 it's really hard to do this and look at everything. Times 3, like he said, because you can place 3 Eisens. We're not taking into account, as of this moment, the buffs and everything, guys. This is pure base damage per minute. So when you do that, you're going to get a total of 646.
Yep, 646,137.
Yeah.
So meaning Eisen does 600,000 damage. This is what all 3 of them placed down maxed out.
In a minute.
600,000 damage in a minute.
Maxed out, basically.
Maxed out, yes. So, you know, you look at all these other numbers, you're like, wow, that's actually really bad. Hence, it makes it very easy and simple. Yes. The more damage it does in a minute, the more impact it's going to have on your game.
Now, you really don't want to look at damage per second, in my opinion, because you're not going to be attacking every second. So, although a unit's damage, like for example, Eisen's damage per second is 3,682. He's not going to do 3,682 damage every second. One singular unit every 6.5 seconds is 23,000 damage. So there's a lot of stuff that we'll have to take into account, like for example, how often they attack. Like he attacks 1 time for a total of 23,000 damage. Kainu attacks 4 times for a total of 13,000, which means he like does what, like 3.5 thousand damage per hit, but in total he'll do that much. Basically, this whole list right here that we just kind of like reformatted for damage per minute shows the total damage your unit will do. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually like organize this list real quick in a way that goes from top to bottom, and we can actually finally see who the best units are base stat wise on like damage done. So click over here, we're gonna sort, oh whoops, sorry, wrong one. Click over here, we're gonna sort this from Z to A, which is gonna be the top number, and we will come to the conclusion that Dark Asta, aka Asta, is the best damage dealing unit in the game, with a caveat. That caveat being the Limitless Gojo, okay? But you'll look at this and you'll see that Asta, who can be placed 4 times, does 62,000 damage. And if you do the math again for him, so you do 60 seconds divided by 7, he can attack every 8. He can attack 8 times every minute, times the 62,818 damage, times 4 units, which gave us this total of 210,000, or 2,010,000 damage, 176. That is why Asta is actually the strongest unit in the game currently. Now, we really like how Chuni did all this extra stuff as well, making him a ground type, hill type, magical, physical. We really do appreciate that. So Asta is the best ground physical damage dealer in the game currently. You're probably saying, but wait, Toad, what was his name? Yuto, right? Yuta from Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah.
He does 151,000 damage at level 100, Toad. There's no way Asta is better than him. Well, if you look at this, he does 1.3 million damage in a minute. So I'd say 2 million damage is quite a little bit better than 1.3 million. I'm not the expert though. There is quite a little bit of a difference between the characters. For example, Yuto has twice the range that Asta does. So if there's more minions in a straight line, because Yuto hits in a straight line, he's gonna hit more than Asta is hitting with his 26 range. Does that make sense? But then again, yep, you can only place 3 Yutos, so there's a lot of like stuff that goes into place. So he's a total like 155 range. Asta has a total of like 100 range. So it kind of like outweighs itself, if that makes sense. Like, although Asta does the most damage per minute, Yuto can also do a lot of damage. But at the end of the day, in a minute, Asta is the best ground physical type unit. Look at this. Battle Lust buff, debuff. That is one of the new like passives that Lucky has actually. And so he gains like what, 5%?
Yeah, and it goes up to 25%.
If
So-
he's in combat.
Yeah, he has to stay in combat the entire time. So in general, we're going to, so let's just do the math now, I guess. We'll take that 675, 120. Now, because it'll be 25% of that, if all 4 of them are all in the max stage when fighting, it will come out to, that's an extra 418,000 damage. So that puts him a little bit above Asta. But for that to happen, his passive needs to, the conditions need to be met for all of them. So you can see how like one unit could be above another, but the one lower could actually be better in like when it comes to actual practice. Because again, this is just on paper, but in play, it's a completely different story.
And although Luck, for example, can get up to 2,093,000, which is almost 100,000 more damage than Asta. Like he's saying, it comes out to play, it comes out to the situation that you're in. So, for example, if you're doing just a regular story mode with Luck and Asta, and they're both maxed out, technically Asta will still be carrying you more than Luck will, because you won't be getting consistent monsters that are coming out of spawn. Like, this little Battle Lust thing is pretty cool. Every time there's a monster that Luck hits, as long as there's another monster in range that he can attack again, he'll get an extra 5%, up to 25%. So it's not a consistent 25% that Lucky is gaining, which is why Asta can actually be considered better and stronger than Lucky. And then there is Yami, Captain Yami. He is good, but he has a weird lane. Literally, I don't know how big the lane itself actually is. I think it is just around like 6 or 7. But like Yami's range is shorter than the lane itself. So it's weird. Yami does a lot of damage, but he doesn't actually do that much damage. But then he ignores shield. So like, for example, Lucky will have to hit the shield to break it before he actually does damage, but he can just kind of ignore the shield. So lots of units here, lots of damage. There are a couple of things that kind of shocked us with this list, actually. First starter, Gon. That was kind of crazy. Gon, at the end of the day, just looking at how much damage Gon does per minute, it's only 372,000, not taking into account his range, for example, right? Because if you think about it, a range of 52 is basically an entire map, so every single unit that's on there will get hit by this Gon, so he'll do a lot more damage than 372,000, if that makes sense, you know? How do I explain that best?
I think you explained it pretty well. I don't think there's really
right. Let's say there's a range of 20, right? And there's 10 monsters in there, but in the overall range of 50, there's a total of 30 monsters per se. Gon will hit all 30 monsters, meaning that he'll do 3 times as much damage as just the guy hitting the range of 20, if that makes more sense. But Gon kind of shocked me on his own. And then, what was his name? Shanks? Shanks?
Yeah, Shanks. Ooh, he fell off big time.
Right. Shanks fell off pretty big. His SPA on my Shanks, I think, is like 3 point something, because I have passives and stuff on him. So that makes a huge difference on like this total damage here. But base stat with like no extra buffs, no nothing, this is the total list here. So the best magical unit currently is Ghetto and Moria Shadow, actually, guys. Don't ask me why. Moria Shadow is there as well. Alongside that, we have Yuno, which in my opinion is one of the better ones, because he's a fully strict flying type unit. And actually Cell and Erza come down here on this list at 1.4 million, while Yuno is doing 1.5 million. So on the website, it says that Yuno and Erza are the same, but Erza's better. But in my opinion, I'd still think that Yuno is better than Erza, just based on these like numbers alone. 1.5 versus 1.4 million. I'd say Yuno's a little bit better, because look, the attack type's the same. AoE with 12, AoE with 12. And then the range on Yuno is 32, The range on Erza is 40, so she can reach a little bit more, but she's only like, I don't know. She's only doing it's the range really won't matter if your unit's only gonna attack a certain amount of times within that range, you know. So I don't know, but they're both very good units. If you had like a podium, it would be like first place, in my opinion, goes to Yuno. Second place would go to like Erza, even though Cell's technically better. Well, would Cell take second then? Because Cell does multi-hit, I think.
Yeah, Cell is actually pretty strong.
Yeah, Cell is multi-hit. He hits 4 times here. And Erza also is multi-hit too. So I don't know. And Yuno is definitely multi-hit. He hits like 5 times, I think. 4 times as well, yeah. I don't know. All 3 units are must-have units for Hill. And then you get other units like Perona, for example. Also a must-have Hill support unit. Just a very good unit in general. Also doing as much damage as Erza, guys. I don't know. That sounds pretty good to me. And she slows. So, what's that?
I was gonna say, like a really big, like I cannot stress enough because I already know a lot of people are gonna view it. This is not like a tier list. So like, again, like you gotta take into account like these are just raw damage numbers, but there's like range, the type of attack, and then on top of that, the buffs and passes, etc. That is a completely different thing.
Right.
It's just like I feel like a lot of people will look at this and then be like, okay, so Asta's the best, like, or like they'll be like, well, Moria is up there, so he's better than like all these other magic users, and it's like that's not the case at all. He does not have like any passive or anything. You look at his attack type, the range, etc. It all plays a big factor. So it's like that's all I'm gonna say. That's one really big.
I feel like the best way to title this video will be to say anime adventures damage per minute like list or something, because like Theo said, it's not a tier list, because if you guys think about it, Gojo can limitless, right? I have my Gojo to limitless 3, which puts him above every single one of these other units. So although Gojo's in 9th place right now, or like 8th place, he's still the best unit in the game. I'm just gonna go down real quick this list. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, that's exactly my point. Like, Gojo's here at 9, but he's actually the best character in the game currently. Like, he's just like, there's no other ground unit that can top him. Not
only does he like buff himself, but he stops time for everyone. There's just a lot of other factors that you got to take into account when you're looking into a list like this. But I'm gonna keep scrolling down real quick, nice and slow. You guys can see where your unit falls on the list here. Kent Overtime, for example, is 22nd over here with 1.1 million damage. Is that true? Debatable, you know. Sukuna,
to be honest,
25th.
Like
you like Kent's kit? Yeah, Kent's really good. I have him on my team. Here's Sukuna, 25th. It literally says that Tango. Who's Tango actually?
That's that is
Who is that?
Tengen.
Tengen?
Yeah.
It says that Tengen is better than Sukuna, which, if we're gonna do a tier list, no way, Jose, because Tengen does not evolve. This is it. This is all you get for Tengen. Tengen doesn't do bleed and crit damage, so these are just base numbers, guys. Just gonna keep going down. You guys can see King Nera, 1 million base damage. Gray, one of my favorite units in the last update. Only does 759,000 base, but he also freezes them in place for like a second or two. Lots of things you guys need to take into account when looking into this. But I think we're gonna end it here. Let me know what you think. Once again, huge shout out to Chuni for doing this. We kind of just modified it a little bit to add what I think is really important when looking at this 2 DPM, as opposed to looking at damage per second. And then, like I said, it kind of got a little confusing when looking at true T DPS versus true DPS, you know? So, because now if I sort it by true T DPS, apparently Levi is the best character in the game. So, I don't know. That's it for this video, though. I hope you guys like this. I'll see you later, though. Reese's Thesis. Bye!